It's Monday morning, or actually Monday afternoon. You know, I never get up till late morning. I'm single. My kids are older. I can do what I want. And so anyway, I thought I'd come back to you with that topic of my weight loss surgery. I haven't talked about that in a while, and I remember saying that I was going to tell you all about what I ate and all that stuff. And of course, it's like in a memory fog. I don't remember what I ate at the beginning. I do remember I ate a lot of mushy things the first couple of weeks anyway. When I got home from the hospital, I remember I could only have liquid for a few days, and then I had milk products and oatmeal, and only like a small amount at a time, but you really don't want it, so it's not a big deal. You don't even want what you're supposed to have. And I remember the hardest part for me was the water. I was really thirsty, and it's funny because I'm never thirsty now, but I was thirsty then and dehydrated, I guess, and I had to just drink 2 ounces of water at a time in a little measuring cup thing, and I could only drink it slowly, sip it, and then wait 15 minutes before I had more, and that just drove me crazy. I thought I was gonna die because I was so thirsty. I was like on a desert island or something, you know, like Tom Hanks from Castaways. And I remember making a lot of popsicles out of just Crystal Light and water, and I thought I'd died and gone to heaven for that. Now I couldn't care less about that. I want the real thing, the real popsicles. Anyway, so, you know, it's so easy. I mean, at the time, it's not a big deal. But, you know, days go by and they're pretty slow. But in a couple of weeks, I was fine. Nothing mattered. I didn't care about all that stuff anymore. So, all in all, I'm glad I did it. I'm ecstatic that I did it, because I would have never lost this kind of weight if I had done it on my own. And not to knock people that do it the natural way, because that is the better way, but it just wasn't working for me. I mean, I had a lot of things that were going against me. My age, being overweight since I was 10 years old, yo-yo dieting all the time, that really messes up your metabolism. And of course, I told you that I'm not an exercise guru, so that doesn't help. I mean, I can walk like a fiend. If I go shopping in the States, I can walk and walk and walk like I don't even know what time it is, because I'm going for the prize. But when I'm at a gym, the prize is looking different. It's harder. And so I wanted to tell you, like, I like to talk about it to people that are interested, of course, right? So, because I know people that are on diets all the time and they're overweight, you know, they don't want to hear it. They don't like, well, when I was heavier, I had a few friends that had the gastric, and I was all excited for them, and I loved listening to the stories because I was thinking of doing it. But I can see for people that are not interested, like friends, they don't want to hear it all day long about, you know, this gastric, that gastric, what I ate. People think I look better. Like, it's too much. And you know what, people can talk too much about it, because I remember a certain, you know, particular person talking about it all the time and going on about how great everybody thinks they look. And that's nice, that's great. But you can't talk about it all day long. You sound crazy. So, you know, everybody's happy for you, but in not to listen to it all day. So it gets sickening. So with the gastric, I hate the word gastric. I should just say weight loss surgery. That sounds better. Gastric sounds like I've got, I don't know, bypass or heart bypass or something. So anyway, it's another gloomy day here, and some woman just walked behind my car and was yelling at me. Maybe she was talking on the phone, I don't know. Anyway, I didn't do anything. So, yeah, it was nice yesterday, and I mean, it's almost mid-June, it should get better. The weather is gonna get better. It's gonna be in their 20s and 30s soon. And anyway, talking about the gastric thing, I had a little group of girls over for coffee, and somebody will ask me, oh, about your gastric. So then you start talking about it, and then everybody else is quiet, and you kind of know. I mean, sure, they're glad for me, but like it's not about them. It gets sickening to listen to it, and kind of puts you in a spot because they're not interested in doing this, so they don't want to. Maybe they don't want to hear about it. I try not to talk about it too much, but if somebody gives me a compliment, I do say thank you, but I'm quite reserved with that even. I always, I'm not good at taking compliments, and I have to learn to say thank you gracefully and not go, oh, yeah, whatever, because that's what I do, right? And I saw some video the other day about I don't know, it was self-esteem or something, and they were saying that if somebody says something nice to you, or they say, I like your outfit, and then you start going on and on about, oh yeah, well, this thing only cost me $5 at Walmart, and that is not a way to take a compliment. And I think that's what I used to do, because I would always want to tell everybody where I got it and it was cheap. But they say that it's like putting it down. You should just say, oh, thank you. It's hard for me because I want to blab, right? I want to tell them where I got it from or whatever. But you don't have to. You don't have to. So I have to learn to do that proper, to take a compliment properly. And so as I was saying, I'm always critical about myself, even though I had surgery and I'm so ecstatic that I had it. But even when you had it, I mean, before I used to think, oh, as long as I could get slim, I don't care what I look like. I don't care if my skin is yucky. I don't care. But as long as I'm healthier and slimmer and I can wear nicer clothes. And then when you get to that point, then all of a sudden, there's disadvantages to the weight loss. But, you're going to have to get used to it. Unless you want to put a lot of money and pain investment into surgeries, because it's not just one little thing you need surgery on, it's basically your whole body. I always joke with my friends and tell them, oh, well, I'm just going to have a total body lift and from my toes or my ankles all the way up to the top of my head and just tie it up as tight as you can and then put a little bow on it. And they get a chuckle out of that. But, I've always been confident, and I've had self-esteem, but I've always had that weight issue that's always in the back of my mind that made me feel less, or I could be better. So I think that I have to just accept what my body looks like. I mean, if I had lots of money and won the lottery, I'd probably do something. I think certain things that people see are more important than what you can hide with clothes. So I'm going to think about that. And I was at a red light and I'm talking and somebody's staring at me. They think I'm crazy. Well, they don't know. They think I could be talking on the phone with somebody, right? Or FaceTiming somebody. So I'm going off to see a girlfriend and have a coffee. Oh, what now? Paramedics, now ambulance. Uh-oh, police. Oh, it gives me a sick feeling when I see ambulance or I hear the ambulance siren. Because I can just imagine what's happening, and I'm the kind of person who feels for everybody. Like, I can see a stranger on the street that looks sad and I'm worried about him. Like, I need to stop that because it really puts me in a damper, like in a down way, a bad way. I mean, I've had a lot of turmoil in my life. A lot of bad things have happened to me in the past, and I've always been like I've been in a hole, and then I've just pulled myself out and got out of it, and I won't give up, and I keep trying no matter what. And that's the way it's got to be, right? So I think that. Okay, I was talking about my arms. See, I ramble a lot. I do that a lot. So about my arms, somebody said something and I go, yeah, well, my arms are still big, I'll have to give that negative comment again. And then, everybody's just staring at me because they're on their own journey with weight loss. And so they were looking at me, and I almost said, and good thing I didn't, I almost said, well, it's either I'm heavier with big arms and unhealthy, or I'm slimmer, healthier with saggy arms. And then I thought I better stop myself, because there are people, in my group that have a weight issue, and we've all had weight issues together, and we've all dieted together and had success and loss and back to the square one again, start on Monday. So I know what it's like. I've been on both sides. And, sure, I wish I could say to everybody, oh, you should have this surgery. It's the best thing I ever done or did. But they know about it, and it's their choice. And if they don't feel comfortable doing it, who am I to tell them to do it? Even though I want to, and I want to say, you're going to stop wasting your life dieting, but they have reasons for not doing it. So I'm not going to take that away from them, right? Maybe I was more desperate. That's why I did it. My friends can diet, and they can lose good amounts of weight. If I did the same meal plan as them, I'd still be at either a gain or a quarter pound a week. And it was too frustrating for me. I could not stand it anymore. I'd go to Weight Watchers time and time after, and I missed the coffee place. Did I? Can't go to my girlfriend's house without a coffee. She makes coffee, but I want my Tim Hortons. Anyway, so see how I ramble? I go from one subject to another, and another person's looking at me, thinking I'm crazy. So, like I said, it's their bodies, their journeys. And if they don't feel like it's not for them, who am I to say anything? I just know that I'm glad I did it, and I have to think about me too, right? Yeah. So, it's like when somebody gives me a compliment, I feel embarrassed. I feel shy. I feel like weird saying, oh, thank you, because I don't feel like I'm worthy of it or something. I don't know. Maybe it's because I've been overweight for 50 years of my life. So I have to get used to it. But I feel like if I constantly go, oh, thank you, then I'm bragging or something, right? And I don't need people to know about it. I know I look better and I feel better, and that's all that matters. And I really don't need compliments. Once in a while it is nice. I got a few compliments from a gorgeous YouTuber that I love, and that made my day. And still, when I'm in a down mood, I think about what she said, and it makes me feel better. So it is good to get compliments, and it's better to eat compliments. And you know what? I'm really bad at that too. I hardly ever tell people nice, and I think, oh my God. I think in my mind they look nice, and I go, wow, I like that, but I never say anything. So like lately, I've been really pushing myself to say things. And even if you don't like how they look that day, you don't have to talk about their looks. You could say something nice about them, right? So I turned you off there for a minute because I was at a drive-thru. So all in all, I'm happy to have had the surgery, and I'm glad so far I don't have any complications other than my flabby arms. I got to tell you this one. I don't get a lot of rude comments in my life. I've got things that I don't like on myself or my body or my face or whatever. And I never really grew up with people criticizing it or making fun of me, but I always felt that I wasn't as good as everybody else. So where did that come from? I guess just being chubby and being told I'm chubby, I guess, when I was younger, or stop eating. But it's just a normal thing, with peer pressure, with all the teenagers in school and everybody, like you wanted to be like the others and have dates and look thinner and be prettier, whatever our reasons were. I always say you got to do the best with what you have, right? You can't help it if you've got things in your body or your facial areas that you don't like. You can't help that you're short or tall. I've had people comment on my height because I'm only 5'2", and there's always this, ongoing joke, oh, well, you're short. So, who cares if I'm short? You're tall. When I was in high school, everybody was my height. There was the odd tall person that everybody looked up at and thought looked a little different, right? People were all my height then, the girls. And I had no problems with being 5'2" because I could wear high heels. A few of the taller girls couldn't wear it. And who cares, right? Whatever you're born with, you work it. So ridiculous to make fun of somebody or criticize or comment about people's height. You can't do anything about it. What are you going to do? Get an operation for that? So, whatever. People aren't happy unless they can comment or criticize, I guess. I mean, we all do it. We try not to. I mean, even though I never criticize anybody, like I'm not saying I never criticize people, but I mean, between girlfriends, sometimes you'll have comments about other people, and you really got to stop that because it's ridiculous. Because, it's just a bad thing that everybody can do. But, I mean, we have opinions, right? We think about things, like if we see somebody walking on the street or in a mall and they're dressed like really crazy and their hair's really crazy, or, they look different. We in our minds, we're going, oh my God. But you know what? Who cares? That's somebody's baby out there, and that's the way they like to look. So who are you, or who am I to even think it? I know it's hard for the mind not to go there, but you gotta just change your way of thinking and think about the good in everybody, and think they must be a nice person, even if they don't have the hair color that you like, or they're not wearing the kind of clothes you like, or they're heavy, or they're too skinny. Like, I mean, I've seen some really big people, and I just, I still have that sympathy thing. I feel bad for them, and I'm like, oh my God, I wish I could tell them about my surgery, but I want to fix everybody and help everybody, and I can't. It's their journey, it's their life. And then I've seen some people that are anorexic, and I understand what's happening in their mind, even though I've never been really anorexic. I was close to it when I was young, because I was always on a diet. I got down to 117, and I was so afraid to gain, some weight, that when somebody would give me an ice cream or something, I'd say no, and then they'd force it on me, how Europeans are. So I take it, and then I go take an X-Lax after, because I was so worried to gain weight. And I got really sick doing that. And see how it starts? And I got really ill, and I had really bad stomach aches, and I went to the hospital, and they did all the testing, and nothing was wrong with me, but they did listen to my story, and they told me that if I don't stop it, I'm borderline anorexic, going that way, bulimia, whatever you want to call it. But I learned my lesson. I never did that anymore, and I still don't. Now, saying that, once in a while when I was heavier, I had water pills the doctor gave me, and if I felt like I was going to gain weight that week at Weight Watchers, I'd take a water pill the day before or the morning of, so that I'd go to the bathroom so that I wouldn't weigh as much. See, the same sickness sort of appearing again, but I'm just telling the truth, like I'm being real. But like I say, I don't do that anymore. So I'm happy with having the surgery, as I've said it about 1,000,000 times already. So I'm going to let you go, and I'm going to go have my coffee with my friend, and I might videotape us blabbing for your television, your YouTuber enjoyment. Is that right? Oh my gosh. Hey, there's Daisy and Gino. They're so cute. Oh, now they're going to start fighting again. You're a good boy. Daisy bugs you, doesn't she, Gino? She's still younger than you. She's a pain in the butt. Oh, here we go. Okay, so the other day I went to H&M, and I saw a really nice gold lame bathing suit. I know when you don't have a perfect figure, you don't really think sometimes you shouldn't show it off, but I'm not like that. I don't care. I want a pretty bathing suit. So it was really nice, but when I tried it on, it changed the whole look. Anyway, yeah, the neckline, not the neckline, there was a cleavage in the front that went all the way down to my belly button almost. So that wasn't a cute look for me. So I thought, nah, but now I'm thinking about it. Maybe I should go back and try it on again. And I could sew up that cleavage to where I want it. Because I really like, being a Floridian gal in my past life, being raised there, basically we went to Florida 3 times a year. And I love it there. I like all the southern states in the States, like North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, because I've been there and loved it. North Carolina, I remember going hang gliding with my dad. Not that I went hang gliding, but I helped him bring his hang glider up the hill. That was a lot of work. My kids were young still then. In those days, I was younger, more agile. But I used to love it. And then he'd go down the hill. It was a pretty big hill. It wasn't a big cliff or anything. He was in his 70s or something like that, I think, when he started doing hang gliding. He was crazy. He was some kind of man. He was a dreamer, but he fulfilled his dreams. So North Carolina, Kitty Hawk was where we used to go. And then Florida, of course, I was raised there, basically. And we went to Miami a lot. We stayed by the beach there in a really nice hotel. And I remember it was called the Dunes. I think it's still a pretty high-end hotel from what I remember. And there was a lot of fancy, extravagant, eccentric people that stayed there. And I think I was about 3 years old the first time where I was dancing, because there was music by the pool. And I would dance, do the Watusi, you know. And then all these older women would give me 5 cents. I was always panhandling for money even then, I guess. Not that I panhandle now, but you know, it was fun. I have baby movies of it. That's how I remember it. And I love shopping. I know this is off topic, but I love shopping in Florida because they have stores that are, well, there was a store called Montgomery Ward, I remember, that was a pretty high-end department store, and a store called Burdines, which I just loved. My mother loved it. And I remember going to the bathing suit section there, and they had the wildest bathing suits. Nothing like they have here. They don't have anything like that here. In those days, it was like, they were expensive too. They weren't cheap. But, you know, they had like gold bathing suits with fringes and lime green mesh and all the crazy tropical colors. And I remember when my daughter was born, I went to one of these, like Burdines, I think, and I bought her all kinds of little bikinis, and the one was gold with like, not tassels, frills or fringes or something, and I always like fringes, and a little strawberry bikini with 2 little strawberries on the boobs. She was like 6 months or something, but they had cute stuff. I mean, they have cute stuff here too now, but it was the place to go to Florida to buy clothing at that time. I remember going into, what's it called, Belk's, when I was younger. To me, that was more like an old lady store. My mother used to shop there, but now that I'm older, it's not an old lady store. But you know, they have a little different type of clothing. I call it the Floridian look, the Golden Girls look, and that store now has nice modern things too for younger girls. But at that time when I was young, what did I care about clothes, right? I just followed my mother around. So I still think Florida has nicer things than we do. Sometimes. Yeah, so there's another little thing I remember when I was growing up. And